I've spent years collecting Amouage, and after wearing 44 of their perfumes, I'm finally ranking every single one. This ranking is not based on hype, rarity, or price, it's simply how much I enjoy wearing each one. From perfumes I respect but rarely reach for, to some of my favorite perfumes ever made, here's every Amouage that I've tried, ranked from worst to best. At the bottom of my ranking is Reasons. It's built around dry woods, aromatic herbs, warm spices, and a subtle, smoky, mineralic quality. Like every Amouage perfume, the quality is excellent. My issue is that it never gives me much of a reason to reach for it. When I think of Amouage, I think of bold perfumes with huge personalities that leave a lasting impression. Reasons just lacks the emotional impact that I get from the rest of the house. If another brand released this, I'd probably rate it higher. But against one of the greatest fragrance lineups ever made, it lands at the bottom of my ranking. At the number 44 spot is Amouage's Search, and Search is one of the boldest citrus perfumes that I've ever smelled. It opens with an intense blast of lime and lemon, but instead of staying bright and refreshing, it quickly sinks into smoky frankincense, dark woods, and earthy vetiver. It really is a fascinating contrast. My main issue is that it's a perfume that I enjoy the idea of more than I enjoy wearing it, and for that reason, I would just wear something else from the house. It's a great perfume, don't get me wrong, but in relation to the other Amouages, it's just in the number 44 spot. In the number 43 spot is Honor Man, and Honor Man is one that never fully clicked with me. It's a clean, peppery, woody perfume with a nice dose of olibanum, and I can absolutely appreciate how smooth and well put together it is. However, every time I wear it, I just wish it had a little bit more personality. It doesn't challenge me, it doesn't surprise me, it doesn't give me that feeling that so many other Amouages do. It almost feels like Amouage made a fragrance for people who don't normally wear Amouage. I still think it's a really good perfume, and honestly, if you're looking for a safe entry into the brand, this is one of the best options. It just isn't what I personally come to Amouage for, which is why I have it at number 43. In the number 42 spot is Material, and Material is one that I wanted to love more than I actually do. It's centered around vanilla, but don't expect a gourmand perfume. This is dry, resinous, woody vanilla with smoky incense, benzoin, and an earthy patchouli underneath all of it. I completely understand why people love it. It's rich and comforting and definitely has that Amouage quality, but for me, it just never reaches the heights that some of the resinous perfumes from Amouage do. If I'm in the mood for something dark and warm, there are definitely a few Amouages that I grab before this one. For that reason, it lands at spot number 42. At the number 41 spot is Woods Symphony. Despite its name, it's incredibly Oris forward. It's soft, powdery, and airy, with smooth woods underneath and just enough animal character to keep it interesting without ever becoming challenging. I actually really appreciate how different it is, but compared to some of the other Amouages, it just falls a little bit short. For that reason, it's number 41 in my ranking. At my number 40 spot is Lineage, and Lineage is one of the most realistic aquatic perfumes that I've ever smelled. Forget the fake aquatic BS that designer perfumes try to sell you. Lineage actually smells like real sea salt, mixed in with cold mineralics and smoky olibanum. I love how atmospheric it is, but it's also a perfume that I really have to be in a specific mood to reach for. If you want an aquatic perfume that actually smells like the ocean, Lineage is hard to beat. For me, it comes in at number 40. At my number 39 spot is Outlands, which I know I'm going to get some hate for. Outlands has been one of the most hyped Amouages, but also just one of the most hyped niche perfumes in the last couple of years. Do get why it really is a beautiful perfume. That rich honey sweetness is unlike anything else from the brand, and that's what makes it so addictive. But my only issue is that the honey almost steals the entire show. There are spices, woods, and darker nuances underneath, but I have a hard time picking them up because that dense vanillic honey thing is so sweet and so cloying. It's still a fantastic perfume, but that's why it lands at number 39 in my ranking. Number 38 is Reflection Man, which is probably Amouage's most approachable perfume, but funny enough, it never felt that way to me. I got into perfume in 2014 through various different niche brands, and most of those perfumes were ambery, animalic, spicy, Middle Eastern, and a little bit funky to the average person, so funny enough for me, Reflection Man was actually one of the weirder ones to my nose. Now that I've spent years with it, I really appreciate it for what it is. Of course, it has a very clean, creamy, and floral character, but it just doesn't excite me the way that a lot of the darker Amouages do. For that reason, it comes in at number 38. And at spot number 37 is Beloved Man. It's woody, spicy, lightly floral, and resinous, but everything does feel pretty balanced. Beloved Man is very clean, green, aromatic, and fougere, and is perfect for people who like to smell masculine without trying too hard. In the number 36 spot, we have Amouage's Enclave, which is one of the best ideas for a perfume, but the execution just did not live up to what it should be. The idea of Enclave is absolutely spectacular. It's this dichotomy between this sugary and icy spearmint at the top and then this ambery and smoky vanilla base. The issue is that there's something so synthetic in here that is just kind of off-putting to my nose, but it's still really solid, and the idea is great, so I hope that Amouage releases an X-ray version that smooths out the rough edges of Enclave. Journeyman takes the number 35th spot, and this is a blend of an insane amount of spices. The perfume is introduced with Sichuan pepper and cardamom, which creates this very aromatic, almost gourmand type of aspect, and it dries down with this really nice tobacco and this very sweet tonka bean, which makes it feel luxurious and almost very dense. The Sichuan pepper mixed with the sweeter notes like the tonka bean in the base, to me it has always smelled a little bit like a barbecue sauce, but in the best possible way. Before you get into perfumes like Interlude Man and Royal Tobacco from Amouage, I think Journeyman is one of the best oriental and spicy perfumes to start with. Speaking of the interludes, next up we have Interlude Woman, which is a beast of an ambery and animalic musky perfume. Interlude Woman opens up tart and fruity like cranberry juice, and there's also some very weird nutty walnut in here. As it dries down, you get marigold and smoke and this weird animalic musk, and that is mixed with this dense and almost choking amber note. The combination is odd but absolutely gorgeous. Number 33 is Interlude Black Iris, and this one is very odd. Interlude Black Iris replaces the original Interlude's very infamous and famous oregano note and replaces that with basil, which is very clean and definitely not as challenging or weird as the original. It also adds this powdery and creamy orris root, which definitely smooths out the composition and makes it easier to wear for most people than the original, although for some reason I find it a little bit harder to wear than the original and the X-ray version. Number 32 is Amouage's most recent release. This is Elsewhere, also known as Sinbad in the GCC exclusive area of the Middle East. I have to be honest, this smells absolutely phenomenal, but the idea is just recycled. It's not new, it's just old DNA over many different brands, and for that reason I really cannot put it any higher than this on this list. However, Elsewhere is this beautiful composition of spiced honey and woods, and also it has this very nice crisp apple note in the opening that is sweet and very refreshing. Next up, and in spot number 31, is Timber, which is all about the life cycle of a tree. In Timber, you experience wood in pretty much every way that it can be experienced in perfume, which is really cool. You get some creamy qualities, you get smoky qualities, you get some ashy qualities, and the woods are combined with some very nice aromatics like lavender and some other stuff like that, which makes it very balanced, sweet, and just such a composed perfume. Diaman is next at spot number 30, and this one is a very odd one to describe. It smells like peony flower decaying in a vat of molasses and maple syrup, but it's also very smooth and opulent, and despite its pretty weak projection, it actually adds to the serenity of the perfume. At spot number 29, we have Honor 43 Woman, and this is one of the first perfumes that really showed me what tuberose could be in a fragrance. I really don't like tuberose because typically it smells like grape medicine or grape soda, but in Honor 43, the tuberose and a Popinax combination is so velvety, smooth, vanillic, and just fluffy, and for that reason it is so addictive. At spot number 28, we have the original Interlude Man, which is one of the most infamous perfumes from the house of Amouage. Interlude Man is known for its sharp and spicy oregano in the opening, with a nice dry down of smoky oud, leather, and resins. There is really nothing wrong with this perfume. In fact, I think it's kind of the epitome of the house of Amouage as a whole. It's spicy, it's resinous, it's daring, it's a very well-made fragrance. There are just others that I like better on this list. Meander comes into spot number 27, and I really enjoy this for its smooth, addictive, and meditative quality. It has this very calming and creamy sandalwood, and it mixes that with some weird earthy notes, but it works together very well. Those are combined with the incense and carrot seed that gives it this undeniable character, and Meander is one that I wear every time it rains. Meander is not talked about nearly enough as it should be, and it's extremely underrated. Then we have Lyric Man, which is a beautiful composition between musk and rose. The rose is not dark or jammy, the musk is very fluffy and light, but somehow the fragrance still feels very dense and heavy. There's a lot of pine that really rounds out the composition, and way in the back there's some very light sweetness and creaminess coming from vanilla and sandalwood. Lyric Man had to grow on me because I did not really like it at first, but now I really enjoy it. Next up is Imitation Man, which is another rose heavy perfume, but this one is much less serious, more playful, and very weird. This mixes an animalic castoreum with this weird plasticky vinyl accord and that sugary rose, and the combination is really addictive. However, this is not for everyone, and because of that it got discontinued, so if you want this bottle, you better find it now. In 24th place is another discontinued Amouage, and this is Boundless. This takes that Tom Ford Tobacco Vanille DNA, which is very resinous, very vanillic, and very sweet, and it adds a lot of frankincense, a handful of oriental spices, and a little bit more of a challenging aspect. In my opinion, this is by far the best tobacco and vanilla combination on the market. I'm gonna be honest, I think I messed up the ranking and I have no clue what number we're on, so I just won't even rank it until we get to the top 10. Anyways, this is Love Hibiscus. This one is phenomenal. Love Hibiscus combines an earthy and powdery orris root with a tart and sugary hibiscus jam. It's candied, it's sweet, but it's also very balanced with that bitter note, and it's probably my second favorite gourmand perfume of all time. Sunshine Woman is next, which is another discontinued Amouage perfume. Sunshine Woman opens very jammy and sweet, almost like amaretto to my nose, but the dry down is very bitter, it's much more floral, and it makes it less of a gourmand perfume. Next up is Epic 56 Woman, which is 56% oil concentration. Epic 56 has some oud, it has some dry spices, it has some rose, but the weirdest thing about it is that it has this kind of shellac, pickly type of chord, which is very odd. Deeper in the dry down though, there's this dry cumin and a very powerful oud, and the combination is just spectacular. Next up is another very infamous Amouage. This is Mythsman. This is discontinued, but is coming back, so don't spend $1,000 on this. This is Chrysanthemum. It's ash. It's very smoky. It's slightly animalic and leathery. It always reminds me a bit of a petting zoo because it has this kind of animalic hay-like quality. This is very artistic and very pretty. Next up is Silver Oud, which is probably Amouage's most challenging perfume from their new catalog. This is a funky, cheesy, and animalic oud assam from India that's paired with a very animalic castoreum, but that's all rounded out with this really creamy and addictive vanilla in the base. Some people struggle to get to the base after the opening, but if you can get to the base, then this definitely rewards you with that vanilla. This oud is raw, it's real, it's very animalic and amazing, and if you're an oud lover, then Silver Oud is a treat for you. And next up is King Blue, which has the same oud assam from India, which is that cheesy, funky, animalistic oud, but King Blue pairs it with oak and very jammy qualities, which smells like marmalade. King Blue is much sweeter and more tart than Silver Oud, and the weird thing about this perfume is that up close it's very animalic, it's very challenging, but in the air it smells like blueberry pie and it's extremely addictive. Decision is next, and this is a weird combination of this very heavy and thick syrupy bourbon vanilla and this kind of staticky accord. Decision is kind of a mixture between this sharp and metallic piercing note at the top and this dry, ever so slightly smoky and very sweet base. The one thing to watch out for is that Decision is very potent and linear, so it can get a bit overwhelming at times. Then we have Royal Tobacco, and this is honestly what I wanted Interlude Man to be. This is extremely potent. It's dry, it's very spicy, it's almost culinary, but it has this weird combination between this black licorice accord and this very smoky, ashy tobacco in the base. It has oud, it has leather, it's odd, it's heavy, it's dense. It's not for everyone, but it for sure is for me. Now we have Epic Man, which is just a concoction between the smoothest spices and oud and leather and animalics and smoke and sweetness that I've ever smelled. Epic Man is the definition of a chaotic looking perfume on paper that comes out to be absolutely opulent and smooth. Despite its crazy note breakdown, this is actually pretty wearable too. Alright, now we have one of Amouage's most hated perfumes ever. This is Figment Man. This has been discontinued for a while because people cannot stand this juice, and I really can't seem to understand why. Yes, it is earthy, it is animalic, it is a little bit odd and is very unconventional, but it's also extremely smooth and it's almost sugary. There's kind of this sugary cork aspect to it, like a wine cork dipped in confectionery sugar, and the combination is so amazing to me that I don't understand why people don't enjoy it. Now we have DF40, which is old school, it's aldehydic, it's posh, it's very soapy, and it smells just insanely rich. Not rich as in dense, but rich as in it smells like a billionaire's perfume. This just smells like the smell of a billionaire's penthouse, and it's just really addictive. Just want to let you guys know this whole thing is ranked, by the way, so every perfume is in its spot that I want it to be at. I just lost my place, so I don't really know where we're at, but when we get down to number 5, I'll definitely be counting down. Now we have the best of the interludes in my opinion. This is Interlude 53 Extrait de Parfum, the 53% oil concentrate of the original Interlude Man. This is the same exact smell as the original, it's just taken slower, it's smoother, the whole thing is rounded out, the transitions are deeper, it's denser, it's more syrupy, the amber almost smells more vanillic. This is the Interlude DNA perfected in my opinion. Next up is Existence. I have a bottle on the way. I am extremely excited. Existence is this extremely aldehydic perfume. It has this very cooling and wet quality, but it pairs that with this kind of cold Amouage signature frankincense and then this very nice amber note. It's almost hauntingly beautiful. It is just such a strong perfume as well. This is like a 2 sprayer. I'm super happy to have this in my collection. Now we have Guidance 46, which I still can't tell what place to put this on my list. Now I do want to know that pretty much from spot 27 to spot number 2, they're all interchangeable and any of them could be changed. Like, I really cannot put this in a list because my mind changes so much. Guidance 46 was my number 1 at one point. Now it's probably around the number 10. This thing is just a very, very beautiful beast. It's like hazelnut spread. It's creamy. It has some sharpness from Akigawa wood. It's very nutty. I find that it's actually a little bit challenging up close, but in the air, the scent trail is just magnificent. Up next, we have the fan favorite Amouage Purpose 50. And I'm going to be honest, if I could only have one perfume for the rest of my life that would cover every occasion, it would be Amouage Purpose 50. Purpose 50 is green frankincense. It has a lot of Akigawa wood, but the base of sandalwood and vanilla is the creamiest and most addictive scent trail I think I've ever smelled. The only reason I don't have this higher is because I tend to lean towards the more artistic and the more weird perfumes, and you'll kind of see that a little bit later on the ranking. Now we have Amouage's first creation ever, Gold Man, created in 1983 by Guy Robert. This is vintage white florals, a little bit of a pissy civet, although in my newer batch, the civet is not very prominent at all. It's musky, it's honey, it's aldehydic. This thing is just the absolute definition of a pretty perfume. Just missing the number 5 spot at number 6, we have the original Purpose, which is definitely an unconventional fragrance. Compared to Purpose 50, Purpose is so much more green, it's sharper, it's smokier, it's way spicier, it's almost savory and gourmand. I've always thought that Purpose smells like a lamb dish with lots of spices and a sauce on it. It's just very weird, sharp, savory, and spicy, and I cannot get enough of it. At the number 5 spot, we have Opus 7 Reckless Leather, which is the most savory fragrance that I've ever had the pleasure of experiencing in my entire life. It just has such a culinary aspect. It has cumin and paprika, it has black pepper, it has probably like pink pepper and white pepper. It has so many spices and it's just very savory. The leather and the ambergris combination is just really rugged, slightly animalic, and then there's oud and cypriol oil, which adds an earthy base. Next up is Jubilation 40, which is the most regal smelling fragrance I've ever smelled. This is a jammy blackberry, and that's mixed with a tart blackcurrant, lots of aromatics, and then a base of golden honey and very earthy oud. Jubilation 40 really is a perfume fit for a king, and I can never see myself not having this in my collection. At the number 3 spot is the original Guidance, and my bottle just came in today. I didn't have any footage, but this thing is just a masterpiece of a perfume. I like it better than Guidance 46 because Guidance is sharper, it's way more spicier, it has this very burnt saffron edge. The creaminess of the vanilla, the nuttiness of the hazelnut, and just like the weird Akigawa wood in the base is such a unique combination, and I cannot get enough of this. Number 2 is Overture Man, which is just a weird blend of perfume, but it's really addictive. This is cinnamon, nutmeg, cognac, cumin, with a base of very warm and smoky incense and slight oud and a lot of animalic notes. This reminds me of cookies baking in an oven during Christmas time, and the smoke of the outside air clings on people's coats. It's just so incredibly warm and comforting, and even though it does have an animalic edge, it does not take away from the perfume at all. And my number 1 Amouage perfume of all time is Opus 12 Rose Incense. The rose in here is extremely dark and jammy, almost like a rose Turkish delight. The vanilla comes off as confectionery sugar to my nose. There's an ink note, which is slightly earthy and slightly sweet, and then there is a bunch of extremely dry and resinous myrrh, which rounds everything out. Alright, that was a long video. If you've made it to the end, thank you for watching, and please let me know what your favorite perfume from Amouage is.